Hello there, Brick Fanatics. The story is told of a young man who decided to climb a mountain. I don't know why he decided to climb a mountain. Maybe he was looking for buried treasure or his car keys or something like that. At the top of the mountain, instead of finding car keys, what did he find but a rattlesnake? "Hello," the young man said to the rattlesnake. "What are you doing here?" To which the rattlesnake responded, "I'm freezing to death because I'm cold-blooded. Please pick me up and carry me down the mountain." Said the young man, "I know what you are. You are a rattlesnake, and rattlesnakes bite people like me." "Not so," said the rattlesnake. "If I bite you, then we both die, and neither of us get down the mountain." Well, the young man wasn't the brightest spark, and so he decided to pick up the rattlesnake and carry it down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, the rattlesnake said, "Thank you very much," and then bit the man on the bum. "Ow!" said the young man. That was a really nasty thing to do to me. Why would you do that?" And the rattlesnake said, "You knew what I was when you picked me up." Now, it's maybe a little bit unfair to compare this Lego set to a rattlesnake, but I think it is very important that you know what it is if you are thinking of picking it up, because this thing, Ominous Isle, is not your average Lego set. Ominous Isle is part of the BrickLink Designer Program Series 2 and will go on sale for pre-order on the 6th of June 2024. Yes, pre-order, because unlike most Lego sets, this one is part of a crowdfunding campaign. And you might be thinking, why a crowdfunding campaign for Lego? Normally things like Kickstarter are used by people who don't have the cash to be able to make their thing in advance, and the Lego group can just stump up the cash for these, right? Well, it's complicated. BrickLink has been doing these kinds of sets for several years now, even before the Lego group purchased the entire website outright, and it's been very much a homespun, fan-made thing. Lego fans wanted to make and sell their own Lego sets. The Lego group has cooperated to varying degrees over the years and now seems very invested in making sure that these things keep running off the production line constantly. Essentially, this works very similar to the Lego Ideas theme. Fans submit their own fan-made projects, other fans vote on which projects they wish to see turned into official sets, and then the Lego group will kind of select a few and then maybe tweak them a little bit and then put them out later on down the line. There are two big differences though between the BrickLink Designer Program and the Lego Ideas theme. Number one is the number of sets, where we get maybe a handful of Lego Ideas sets every year. We are getting 5 BrickLink Designer Program sets every 4 months, so it works out at about 15 per year, which is quite a decent number. The second difference is in, I'm going to say, the final polish that are given to some of these Lego sets. If you've ever seen the initial early fan project for a Lego Ideas set and then been somewhat disappointed once it's morphed and changed into its official retail version, then good news, that happens significantly less with these BrickLink Designer sets. The one step that is different from standard Lego sets is just how much the Lego designers change on these things, and these are coming out almost identical, minus like a few tiny changes where certain elements aren't available, but almost identical to the original fan designs, and that is the double-edged sword here. One of the big things that Lego Ideas designers do in order to take a fan project and turn it into an official set is make sure that it is polished, that it is sandpapered and smoothed, to make sure that it is sturdy and things aren't going to break off of it, to make sure that it is relatively straightforward to put together. And that is the thing that I think is missing from Ominous Isle. With these BrickLink Designer sets, it's going to vary depending on the fan designer and on the project. Some of these sets are going to be a little bit more user-friendly than others. And my big criticism of Ominous Isle is that it is not a particularly user-friendly set. Rather than a Lego set, this almost feels like you're building somebody's mock. They've maybe made the instructions and put them up on Rebrickable. There's a significant amount of what I would call not illegal build techniques, but slightly off-putting building techniques. Things that need to be kind of slotted underneath other things. Things that go in a way that you wouldn't normally expect. Just things that they don't break the rules necessarily, but the rules are not as rigid as they could be. Things get bent and just kind of twisted a little bit in order to go in, sometimes literally in this set. Now, if you look at the set, you'll be able to see just how much is going on here and just how much detail there is in this thing. And I do think it's a level beyond what you would normally get from a Lego set. I would think one of the first things that a Lego Ideas designer would do to this would say, do we really need all of that treasure hidden down here? Do we really need all of these details? Can we maybe use one or two larger bricks instead of all of these tiny bricks for various different parts? And that is, I think, one of the big selling points of this set. There is a level of detail here, a level of absolute gorgeous beauty and intricacy that you do not see from a normal Lego set. The other side of that is that it makes it very difficult to put together. So despite this set only having 2,800 and something pieces, it took me 7 hours to put together, compared with the 4,000 plus pieces of Notre Dame Cathedral, which took me 8 hours to put together. So it took a while, and part of that was me scratching my head and thinking, now how is this actually supposed to go together? Am I doing it right? Or putting things in a way that didn't quite feel right, or sometimes making mistakes and needing to go back and change things. This set assumes not just that you are familiar with the Lego system, but that you know it backwards and front, that you are absolutely immersed deeply in Lego as a building medium. To put it bluntly, this is not a set that I would think is suitable for beginners, or indeed for any younger builders who aren't ready for the kind of dexterity to put together some rather tricky pieces. Now, I don't want you to go away from this review thinking that I'm saying that this is a bad set by any stretch of the imagination. It is absolutely spectacular. It looks phenomenal, and as said, I don't think that I will ever put together another Lego set that is quite this detailed and interesting. It does things that you could not do with a normal Lego set. It's just that that comes at a cost, and that cost is, I don't think that this set is necessarily for everybody. This set is for the creme de la creme, the expert master builders among us, rather than being something that's a little bit more accessible to everybody. It's fitting that Ominous Isle is a pirate set, given what I said about Eldorado Fortress when I reviewed this. I said that it felt a little bit basic at times, but then sturdy and rigid and able to withstand quite a lot of abuse in a way that maybe some other Lego sets, especially for 18 plus audiences, just don't manage. This is part of what is left of Eldorado Fortress. The rest is, mostly in one piece. At the time when I reviewed this, I said I had let my children go nuts on it, which is something that I do not normally do with review sets, but I had faith that it was going to be sturdy and it was going to survive that very well. And here we are, several months down the line, and most of this thing is still fairly intact. As I said, this is just one part of it. You can see it's been turned into a secret base for rebels, I think, or Jedi, or occasionally Mandalorians or bounty hunters. It's definitely been played with a lot, and I think it's absolutely fantastic that it has withstood this level of just child enthusiasm. I would never give Ominous Isle to a child if I wanted it to stay in one piece. I barely think that this set stays together just with me as an adult handling it. There are so many fiddly bits that can just pop off and suddenly they're gone forever. It's been very, very difficult to keep it in one piece, even for the purpose of this review. This is a display set. You build it, you put it on display, you do not touch it again. I mean, if you get in here really closely and look, you can see when you look at all of the treasure that's piled up in here and all of the other little details and everything within the captain's quarters and how inaccessible these spaces actually are. It may be open, but it is not open for play. This is meant to be on display. This is meant to be looked at and admired. You can't get your fingers in to actually play with this stuff, and a lot of the stuff, once it's in there, is in there for good. And a lot of this, I imagine all of these hot dogs used as banisters and rope bridges here, these would all just dissipate the moment that you tried to play with it or move the minifigures around. Like, it has a feature that does move independently. It's got this drawbridge that comes down and goes back up. That's very nice. It's controlled by this dial on the back here, which is really neat. And that's fun, but I don't want to spend a lot of time bringing it up and down because I am aware that this set is supposed to be on display, and that's basically it. I mean, just look at the level of detail here and like the skull design here and how many pieces are going on sideways and how many pieces are just maybe not supported as much as they would be in a full proper Lego set release that's been designed by Lego designers or given that Lego Ideas treatment. It's something that you just need to be aware of. It is flimsy, but gosh, it's good looking. That's not the only part of it. There are multiple others. There are secret little hidden treasure chests in here. There are other little details that you can come across that just look fabulous. But yeah, you got to be careful with this one, and it is going to be a real challenge to put together. It might indeed be very frustrating to build in some places as well. The set comes with 5 minifigures and 2 seagulls and 1 skeleton, which according to the LEGO group doesn't count as a minifigure. I think you count as a minifigure, Skelly. I love you. But there's also, you know, other little details here like cannons and whatever that's supposed to be, I guess a seashell. But for the most part, if we are talking minifigures, we need to, again, recognize what this is and what this is not. These are not unique minifigures. These are the same torso and head and leg elements and different accessories that we have seen with other LEGO Pirate sets in the past. This is because of what the LEGO BrickLink Designer Program is. It is making use of existing elements within the LEGO catalog. It is not making anything new. These sets are short run. There are only 30,000 of each one. Once the pre-orders sell out, they are all gone and there will not be any more. Whether or not they sell out does depend on the set. With the first series of these, some of them went very quickly and some of them, the numbers were never quite made up. So there was less than 30,000 ultimately put into production. But either way, short run, not a lot of opportunity for brand new elements. Some of these sets come with stickers and that's fine, but none have new printed elements, and indeed none have elements in colours that were not already available in the catalogue. Indeed, for one of these sets, I believe it's Mushroom House, some elements had to change colour because between the initial project being submitted and the time of manufacture, some elements are either going out of stock or kind of being discontinued in certain colours for the LEGO group, and so they just had to change the colours very quickly. Beyond that, these sets are then very impressive with how much they managed to achieve, given that they're all using all existing elements. The set was designed by fan designer Jared Lacrasse, and I have to say I think he has done a phenomenal job. I think he is a brilliant LEGO genius. I also think that of all of the sets in BrickLink Designer Program Series 2, this is perhaps the one which really pushes the boat out the furthest, based solely on pictures. I've not built all of them, but based on those pictures, this is the one that pushes the boat out the furthest and really transgresses the standard LEGO building style the most. If you look at some of the other sets, they look a lot more like a standard LEGO set in terms of the building techniques, and they don't feel quite so risky, I guess I would say. They're not quite as complicated, they're not quite as detailed, and they're not quite as ultimately un-LEGO-like in their design. Like the rest of them feel a little bit more like they would fit in with the LEGO Ideas program to a certain degree. I don't think you get the logging railway as a LEGO set ever, simply because of the design of the set. But I think Mushroom House as an example, or the Brick Station, these look like LEGO sets that will fit in quite well with a collection of other LEGO sets. Ominous Isle feels like it has taken things one step beyond. It has really taken the opportunity to do something wild and dangerous and unorthodox for a LEGO set and really pushed it as far as possible. To that end, I do think it works very well as part of a LEGO Pirates collection. If you have, for example, Barracuda Bay and you want something to complement that, this works very well with that. If you have Eldorado Fortress and you missed out on Barracuda Bay and you want a piratey set rather than a kind of more military set, then this is a really good one as well. You need to be aware that this set is not going to suit everybody's needs, and I want you to just know that if you are the kind of person who loves a challenging, potentially slightly frustrating build and who wants something that's going to look absolutely magnificent on display, this set is going to meet your needs. If you are not that kind of person, it's unlikely that you're going to be buying from the BrickLink Designer Program anyway, and so I can definitely see how this set works as part of this designer program rather than as part of, say, a LEGO Ideas theme, which it would just be a little bit too complicated for, and I feel like too much of the detail of this set would be lost if it were given the full LEGO Ideas treatment. So yeah, if you are considering this one, chances are you're probably a very good LEGO builder anyway. I just want you to be aware that if you're kind of dipping your toes in and you think for some reason that that's where you're going to start, this might not be the best set for a beginner or for somebody who's a little bit less experienced with LEGO building. I should also point out that we've been very privileged to be given this set for review because of the nature of this crowdfunding campaign. Not everything is ready at this stage for the build. So for example, I didn't have the final instructions, I didn't have the final box or any of the printed materials that might come with a normal Lego set. This is very much, it felt a bit homespun and a little bit kind of punk in a way when it turned up, because it had the feel of having just made a really enormous BrickLink order. The Lego set came in little bags that weren't the standard Lego bags, and to that end, I'm not saying that necessarily as a criticism. In fact, I quite enjoyed just how kind of rough and ready the whole thing felt, and how it felt a lot like I was just buying something from a fan, because basically I am. It's just that the Lego group is facilitating that purchase. But I also want to point out that I cannot comment on the final instructions. I cannot comment on the final build of everything. So the Lego set is locked in. Apparently this is exactly what the Lego set will be when it goes out to consumers. It's just I didn't have the box. I didn't have the full Lego experience here, and I want you to be aware of that, because if there are any issues with things like the instruction manual not being particularly clear when this set comes out, that's not something that I can necessarily comment on one way or the other at this point. This then is Ominous Isle, a set that I would definitely recommend for hardcore Lego pirate fans who are up to a challenge and who are not afraid of getting their hands dirty a little bit when building something like this. I would not necessarily recommend it to everybody, but now you know, so that if you decide to pick this up, you are aware of what you are purchasing. Thank you very much for watching. If you are going to be buying any Lego in the near future, make sure that you use the affiliate link, which is down in the description, or the QR code that is currently on screen. Make sure that you do all of the YouTube things. Go down and leave us a comment telling us about this Lego set and what you think of it, and whether you're going to be picking up any of the BrickLink Designer Program sets. Make sure that you also give this video a thumbs up and hit subscribe and the notification bell. You can go to brickfanatics.com for all of your Lego news and reviews, including a full written review of this set that I've done as well. And you can sign up to our newsletter so that you never miss anything Lego related ever again. Thank you very much for watching.